Hello everyone, it's the hardcore legend Mick Foley wishing a nice day to everyone there, right there at True Heel Heat. Yeah!
What's up, True Heel Heat?
True Heel Heat.
What's up? True Heel Heat. All hands is on me.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat YouTube and Facebook for Rated Raw review, recapping the September 18th, 2023 edition of WWE Raw. This is our new Rated Raw review, replacing Rated Raw Superstars. So we won't be doing watch-alongs on Monday. We'll be doing reviews on Tuesday. And we got to kick it off with a very special guest. He is the co-host of Coexisting over on Fightful Overbooked. You've seen him on Fightful. You've seen him on Fightful Overbooked. You've seen him here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel before. He is Rob Wilkins. How are you doing, good sir?
I am doing good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here, and I'm thankful for letting me do this. I'm very thankful. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, excited to have you on. Excited to talk about last night's Raw with you. What seems to be kind of from the feedback that I've been seeing on social media, a kind of a mixed bag as far as people were concerned, as far as what they thought about last night's Raw. So we would have loved to hear from all of you and see what all of you thought about last night's Raw. So thank you for joining us. If you're joining us live, if you're watching us on demand, remember to show your support for what we do here. Drop the thumbs up on the video. Simplest way possible you can do that. You can share the video with your friends on all your favorite social media platforms. But of course, you can also hit that subscribe button and sound off in the live chat. Give us your thoughts on this week's Monday Night Raw, what you thought about the whole story revolving around Jey Uso, the Judgment Day, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, what you thought about the surprise banger that was Kofi Kingston versus Ivar that we're going to talk about here. We're also going to talk about Becky Lynch making her first defense of NXT Women's Championship, plus much, much more. So sound off in the live chat. You can hit the join button and become a member. That's the best way to have your comments highlighted. But of course, you can also send a super chat donation. All those always help out the contributors to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. We got Vala B, one of our members, who says, you know what? At least stuff happened on the show. Exactly. That's what I said. At least they gave us a show where you can kind of see where they're going with things. I know you were telling me before we went live, Rob, your thoughts, but kind of your overall thoughts on last night's Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, basically you said it. Ivar and Kofi had a hell of a match. Fantastic match on Raw. One of my favorites that I recall. I mean, they've been killing it like with matches lately. You've had Chad Gable and Luther. I was going to say Walter, but Gunther is what I meant. But you've had so many good matches lately, and I love how it seems like I would prefer more matches like be just outstanding, but I will at least take one banger every show. And they gave it to us last night. Even the Seth Rollins Shinsuke match, or excuse me, I just keep on misspeaking today. But even the Shinsuke and Ricochet match was fantastic too, I thought. And I was sitting there thinking, man, if you would have told me 5-6 years ago that, hey, one day you'll be watching Shinsuke and Ricochet on Raw, and Tyler Black or Seth Rollins at that time would interfere, I would have been like, I don't believe you, or that's just how crazy. Like, I love wrestling. It's just I like thinking back of when I watched back in the day and how it just things changed. It was a good show, I thought. I mean, so it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think the kind of the function of the show was a setup show, and I think that it was effective in that part. It wasn't a kind of like the great show. I think it can be at times because Monday Night Raw has some of my favorite workers over in WWE on one show, whether it's Gunther, whether it's Chad Gable, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, the Judgment Day, Cody Rhodes. So like they have a whole bunch of guys that can give you great matches. Drew McIntyre, New Day, the list goes on. And then we saw this week with Viking Raiders, Ivar. He can give you a banger as well. So they have so many great workers on the show. I think they can give us kind of like a 3-hour WWE version of AEW Dynamite.
Yeah.
Just top to bottom, good to great matches. They can give you that. I don't think they gave us that on this show, but they did give us a couple of really good matches on the show, as well as kind of a narrative thread, which I always enjoy with wrestling television. And I think that it's underappreciated nowadays that if there's not 2 to 3 great matches, you don't appreciate a TV show, but I can appreciate a narrative thread through a wrestling show. And Monday Night Raw did that last night.
Yeah, they did. And I think, like you just stated, it was a setup show. I think they're like starting to set up how they're going to go for Fastlane. And I'm very curious to see where we're going with it. I keep on seeing that they're hinting towards like the Drew McIntyre heel turn. I'm kind of wondering if he's going to turn. Like, I mean, it seems so obvious that they're making it so obvious. I'm wondering if he's actually going to do it. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. I get it. When they make things too obvious in WWE, it's just like, oh no, you guys are gonna take this away from me, aren't you? So I do understand that, but that's another one of kind of like the major storylines going on this show. And like Trey Jones says, the potential is there. So let's get into last night's Monday Night Raw. Of course, if you're joining us live, sound off in the live chat. Give us your thoughts on the show, whether you thought the show was good, bad, indifferent. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about the main storylines going on Monday Night Raw, whether good, bad, or indifferent. Just give your opinion. Don't be a dick in the chat and sound off. We'll try to highlight as many of your comments as possible as we go along. But last night's Monday Night Raw, the September 18th, 2023 edition of Monday Night Raw, it emanated from, I believe,
Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City, yeah, because I was like, Cody Rhodes always says the city, so I was like, Cody Rhodes or Jey Uso, always help me out on what the city of the show is. So the show kicked off with, of course, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, coming down to the ring. He comes out and he says he has a matchup on the show against Dominic Mysterio, but first he wants to talk about what he wanted to talk about last week, main event Jey Uso. Of course, that means he's going to get interrupted like he did last week. This week, it will be no different, and it's Dominic Mysterio, who's out here to talk about, he says, the only thing we need to know about Jey is, and that's about all I could get through the booze, basically. I don't know if you got any more than me, Rob, but I think they seem to always be louder from week to week. Cody is trying his best to listen to Dominic as he is showered with booze throughout his entire promo. He continues that once Jake joins Judgment Day, they will continue to be the dominant force. And speaking of dominant, he says his mommy, Rhea Ripley, is not here tonight due to the Nia Jax interruption last week, but she'll be back better and soon. He dedicates his victory tonight against Cody Rhodes to mommy. Cody tries to make Dominic repeat himself. He says that this must be a big night for Dom. Maybe a victory will impress Rhea enough to where she finally defines their relationship. He says this might be a dated reference for you, but he's getting a real Urkel Laura Winslow vibe. And I pop for that because Cody is really black, because that is Family Matters, bringing that up. Pops me. He says he seems more into Rhea than she is into him. He says, what's the deal? It seems like mommy has some eyes for Jey Uso, if you heard what I heard last week. Dom says it's not like that. He says they are a family, and once Jey joins, he'll know what it's like to have a family. And speaking of family, it's not Vin Diesel. It is the Judgment Day who come out to have his back in the opening matchup. Before the opening match, we do get Dragon Lee in the crowd, and we get the announcement that next week on Monday Night Raw, Dragon Lee will challenge Dominic Mysterio for the NXT North American Championship. And Cody, you should have challenged for the championship so you can finish your story. Get the title that your dad never had. Cody did get the victory here in very quick fashion, Rob. 2 minutes, 8 seconds. Crossroads, pretty much. I don't think Cody broke a sweat here. The Judgment Day get on the apron after the matchup. They look like they're about to attack Cody when Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn come out and have Cody Rhodes back. This did lead to our next segment, but we will stop right there to get Rob's thoughts. What was your thoughts on the opening segment here with Cody and Dom promo, and then the matchup, very short, and then Judgment Day, KO and Sami stare down?
Well, I think it's safe to say that Dominic lasted longer with Cody than he would have with Mommy. So, too soon. Yeah, you know how it goes. It was a good quick match to get Cody in front of the crowd, give him a match. You know, I do not like champions getting pinned easily. Even NXT champions, I don't like it. However, like in this situation, if you need a quick match and you're trying to get the Judgment Day over, what I would maybe have done would maybe use JD in that situation. That's me booking, but Dominic's the next best option if you're not going to use him. Like, I get it, because you don't want to beat Finn that quick. You definitely don't want to beat Damian Priest that quick. So I completely understand the match. Yeah, it did go really quick. I don't know if they're setting up. I'm kind of wondering if they're setting up a 4-on-4 match. I don't really know.
It seems like after this show, they're setting up War Games. They're setting up after this show. It seems like they're setting up the Judgment Day, represented by Finn, Damian, Dom, and JD McDonough versus Cody, Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
But I say they make it bigger. They make it a 5-on-5, and they throw Solo and Jimmy in there in some way. You don't need JD. That's a huge opportunity for JD, but come on. I think more drama is doing Finn, Damian, Dom, Solo, and Jimmy versus Cody, Jay, Kevin, Sammy, and whoever. It could be Drew, and then that could be the big moment of the heel turn for Drew.
Okay, so if you go that route, who do you think faces Roman at Survivor Series then?
So Roman's not working Survivor Series.
Oh, he's not working. Okay, gotcha.
He's not. He hasn't been advertised for it, so I don't think he's going to work Survivor Series.
Okay, then that
the way you continue the Bloodline story is putting the other 3 guys in this War Games matchup, because they're already teasing that the Judgment Day is recruiting Jimmy Uso. They seem to also be trying to get on the good side of Solo. They're trying to capitalize on the Bloodline implosion to make themselves a dominant force. So why not have Solo and Jimmy join their side in War Games?
Sure. Okay. Well, that makes sense then, because I was kind of wondering, like, where are they going then with this? But yeah. So I know Roman's wrestling at crown jewel or whatever they're going to call it, that pay-per-view or premium
Yeah.
live event. So, okay. So this makes sense then.
Yeah, which I think is going to be AJ Styles from how
the
they've
way
been
they're
booking
going.
SmackDown lately.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so I actually like your idea if they do add that, if they do add like Jimmy into this or Solo, and I like that idea because then you still have Kevin Owens wondering like, when's the shoe going to drop? I'm expecting it. It feels like Randy Orton per se. Like whenever Randy teams with somebody, you're always waiting for Randy to turn because it doesn't matter. You know that Randy Orton turn's going to happen because he always turns on his. He's always the guy that turns usually. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel would happen in this match, that somebody's going to turn. That's how we get it almost every year. It seems like in a War Games match, it's like WWE style.
It sets up the whole thing of Kevin Owens is going to be so worried about Jey Uso turning, and then it's Drew that turns. So it's like all your paranoia. You were focused on Jey the whole time. You never saw Drew coming.
And then that gives Cody and Drew.
That sets up Cody and Drew. That also gives Kevin Owens a reason to fight Drew. It sets up a lot of other things coming out of War Games where we can finally separate these baby faces from the Judgment Day, because they need after War Games and Survivor Series. I never want to see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn against the Judgment Day again.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
It's been too much. It's been too much since like WrestleMania. Ever since after WrestleMania, these Owens and Zayn has been feuding with the Judgment Day in some fashion.
Exactly. So I completely understand that. No, that makes sense.
Like I said, this whole led into our next segment, but before we get into that, I wanted to see what the chat had to say. We got Queen Monet joining us, asking the question that a lot of us were asking after watching this: why did they beat Dom so fast? It's like I always said, and I did the review for the Money in the Bank, and after their match at Money in the Bank, I was like, that was an indictment against Dom, who has had a great year. I think the only black eye on his whole thing has been his matches with Cody Rhodes. They haven't been that good or memorable, and they've been short. And it's really showed us that Cody's here, Dom's here. Like, that's not what, like, I think that Dom his work has showed that he's getting closer to that spot, but they have made it clear. It's like when John Cena faced The Miz back in 2009.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that.
We got that. We also got in the chat Vala B saying that wasn't Cody, that was Devontae. Yeah, the Devontae side had to mention the family matters lore there. We got Trey Jones who says, so if Rhea is Laura and Dom is Urkel, who's Eddie and Waldo? Well, of course, it's Finn and Damien. Finn and Damien are Eddie and Waldo. Maxine is Raquel Rodriguez. Carl Winslow is Edge. Harriet is Beth. I can go through it. I know these characters very well.
Okay, so who was Stefan Stefan then? Like, who would be the Stefan?
Stefan is the old Dom. It's the Dom before he met Rhea.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. That makes sense.
She turned him into Urkel. This is like reverse Stefan in this.
Okay. Wow. I thought he was dorkier when he was with his dad, so.
Well, he could have been Urkel then, and now he's Stefan. Laura made him Stefan, so there you go.
Either way, yeah.
We got Trey Jones who said, and who's Myra and 3J? Well, Myra would be Dom's real life fiance or Buddy Matthews. And then 3J, JD McDonough would either be 3J or Richie.
Yeah, I was going to say Richie. Perfect. He just kind of shows up every once in a while. He's not there for every show. He just shows up and
he does that weird head twitch in the intro where he goes like,
yeah, got a bobblehead.
It's weird. It's so weird. I did the GIF last night and I was like, I always was annoyed and bothered by that head twitch. Queen Monet saying, with what Cody said, could they be planting seeds for an eventual Rhea Dom split? Maybe. I mean, that's gonna make Rhea the big baby face when she eventually just cuts Dom off.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. That's how it's gonna happen too. Yeah, like the one thing I've said too before, I said WWE has a shot to make, and this is going to sound weird to a lot of people, but WWE has a shot to make Dominic into a huge face one day. Like if, like, let's say his dad's getting beat down and he like makes the save, or like when they, when they do that eventual like hug, like Sammy and KO, people are going to eat that alive. So they're going to love it. So
he will be. I think he needs more time to get better in the ring. When his whole in-ring work can live up to his character work, I think that's when he's gonna be ready for that.
Yeah, and I like that he works these NXT shows because I'm willing to bet they do other things with him before the show. So that's just me speculating. Not that I know.
Nah, it's true. So after we have the whole stare down between the baby faces and Judgment Day, we hear Cody Rhodes music. He's heading up the ramp when Kevin Owens asks for a mic and tells production to cut the music. And he says he and Cody has to discuss something. We come back from break and we're in the ring. Kevin Owens is sitting on the turnbuckle. Sami Zayn by his side in the middle between him and Cody. KO wants to confirm that Jey Uso is back on Raw and it's because of Cody. Cody says, yes, that is correct. KO brings up the fact that there are a lot of people upset with Jey and wonders why Cody thought it was a good idea to bring Jey Uso into their locker room here on Raw. This isn't just for Kevin, it's for everyone in the back that wants to know too. Cody says there are a lot that need to hear this. He says there's a lot of us who already know why though. He says Cody has a lot of roles, tasks, and duties here in the WWE, but his job most of all is to his job most of all is to make the fans happy. So he says that is the reason why he made that decision, but it's also because he asks the fans if we like Jey Uso, and they say we do. KO is looking at someone that has received a large amount of second chances, says Cody. He says Jey Uso deserves a second chance, and we should give him the time to show us that he's changed. Not to mention the bloodline is now down a member. What is bad about that? KO ponders this while Sammy has something to add. He says this is how KO has always been. He takes more time to trust and warm up, and maybe Sammy is the opposite. He trusts too fast, but Sammy knows Jey Uso, and he's been through a lot. The situation Jey had to dig himself out of, and KO doesn't have to give him a second chance, but Sammy thinks he should. He says KO has given Sammy second chances, and he's done the same for KO, and because of that, they main evented WrestleMania, and they walked out with the tag team titles. That doesn't happen without a second chance. KO says, okay. He says he doesn't trust Jey Uso, but he trusts you two, so he hopes they're right. He drops the mic and he walks away. So that is how we leave things. I thought this was a very compelling segment, and it really kind of was one of the more rare moments in WWE where everyone came off like real human beings. It wasn't a babyface and heel moment. It was Kevin Owens kind of keeping true to his character. He's never been trustworthy himself, but he has a lack of trust in other people even more. So he's always been like this, and it's the same thing that when he was saying all this, it's the same thing that I was thinking when he said all of this to Sammy before WrestleMania. I'm just like, dude, you the dude that just betrayed everybody. You betrayed everybody. So you should be the first person who should be giving him a chance or give him the benefit of the doubt. But it's Kevin Owens. He has to keep true to who he is. So I love that he is still true to that character, to the core. I love Cody being the pure baby face who has compassion and sympathy for Jey, and Sammy, who is kind of had that whole like long journey and long arc with Jey where they became friends and they gained trust in one another. He's trying to bring it all together and be the peacemaker. I thought everybody played their roles superbly.
Yeah, and you know what I thought was good is something that they made it make sense. They don't, you kind of stated that before. They don't usually do that. And they did it on this, like in this segment. They made it make sense, which is a rarity on this show, which I absolutely loved. So I think you hit everything I think you hit every point. The only thing I wanted to add was that that they made it make sense, and I'm actually surprised by that. Now, I do have one other question. If you could bring that photo back up of Finn and Damian Priest, where they were standing on the aprons looking at Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Let me see if I got that still. I think I just deleted that.
Oh, okay. No problem then.
No worries. I got it. I can bring it up.
Okay.
But yeah, nah, I definitely agree with you. Like, it just made everything made sense. And then Kevin Owens also brought up how Jey Uso is part of the reason why Sammy didn't win the title at Elimination Chamber, and why Cody didn't win at Mania, and why he was cost like 5 different title matches. I love when he has a memory. He remembers all the storylines.
Yeah, for sure. And Trey in the chat makes a good point. I mean, if you cost me multiple title matches, I wouldn't trust you either. So, I mean, that's how I'd feel.
Yeah, like Kevin Owens it's a reasonable thing what he's thinking as far as like not trusting Jey.
Nope, we lost him. So, okay, well, he should be back any second. But yeah, that was my thing. He just stood. Yeah, if you cost him multiple times, it's gonna be. I would get tired of it too. So KO's Valabi says KO's gimmick is critical thinking and continuity police. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he'll be back. Trust me, I can't carry the show. So I say the gimmick is a joke. So he should be back any second, I would bet. I would hope, anyways. There he is. He's coming back. So I think he's coming back. Looks like he's coming. There he is.
All right. Yeah, sorry about that, everyone.
No problem.
I tried to upload that picture for you, and it just StreamYard was just like, nope.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know I'd break StreamYard.
Sorry about that, everyone. But yeah, love the segment there. But you wanted to bring up about them standing on the apron?
Yeah. So it was just for a bit because it looked like Joel Pearl was in the background. That's I'm not kidding you. There looks like Joel Pearl was in the background of it. I'm not kidding, in the stands. So
Joel is everywhere. Joel is everywhere.
So,
shouts out to Joel Pearl, our homie.
So,
but
yeah, I'll find that later.
Really enjoyable segment there. We get a recap of Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez from last week, and Nia Jax coming out and returning and laying out both women. We then hear from commentary who talk about the matchup and talk about the injuries that were sustained by Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. And like Dom said, Rhea will not be here this week. We are also informed that Eric is no longer medically cleared to compete. So there will not be a 2 out of 3 falls matchup, and instead Kofi challenged Ivar. Because of this, we get the entrance for Kofi Kingston and Ivar. We also see the setup for this matchup where Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods play rock paper scissors to determine which one of them will face Ivar. And like, it was just like, oh man, all right, New Day versus Viking Raiders, Kofi Kingston versus Ivar. All right, it's gonna be a regular match. Who cares? Yeah, two tag team specialists against each other. Oh boy, Ivar just busts out he sits on Kofi's chest. Then he hits a big splash off the apron before the commercial break. And then when we come back from the commercial break, boy, oh boy, did this build up and just have balls to the wall action. You have Ivar hitting top rope splashes. Then out of nowhere, you get Valhalla to tell Ivar to turn around, and he goes for a freaking moonsault off the top rope, and it looks beautiful. This is the best big man moonsault since like Vader. Like, I was like, yo, this is shades of Vader right here. He felt like the monster heel that WWE's been looking for quite some time in this matchup. And that the near falls were great in this matchup. The facial expressions were there. And then Kofi Kingston finally pulls out the win with Trouble in Paradise. They gave them a good amount of time, 13 minutes, 7 seconds. And this was an awesome match that exceeded any and all expectations. You probably weren't even paying attention to this matchup at the beginning, and then by the end, you were fully invested and into every freaking move and near fall. This was a great match and a wonderful performance by Ivar. This was kind of an eye-opener that he can be a single star in WWE.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I love that they did I'm glad him and Kofi got the time. I'm also glad that he took advantage of this time, because it just shows that these guys, we know that they are damn good at what they do.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a friend about it last night. I go, the thing is, anybody in the WWE, they can go. They just don't get to prove it every week. I mean, they can all go, so that match was fantastic, and I'm glad they got to do it. Now let's just hope that they get to do it again, because I love that match. It's one of the best matches, like we talked about earlier, that we've seen on Raw in a long time. And it's just one of those things where, give me more of that, please. Just give me more, and you'll make this show even better. Yeah, and like you said, like, you kind of wonder, like, when that match was coming on, what came to my mind is like, oh, well, I'll let it start and see how it goes. I'm sure it won't last long. Otherwise, I was about to flip the channel to see what the score was, but I'd be like, I'll just look at my phone, and because I'm like, it's not going to last long. And then it was just so good, I couldn't put I'm glad I checked the score. So, but it was a great match.
Exactly. It just came out of nowhere, basically out of nowhere. You thought it was one thing, and then it was just, whoa, I did not expect that. We got a bunch of comments I wanted to highlight here. We got Valabi talking about the KO character, saying KO's gimmick is critical thinking and continuality, please. Yes. Absolutely. I agree. He says, I say gimmick as a joke, but yeah, it's true. It is true. And yes, also Valabi, yes, StreamYard is held together by shoelace and hope. It is very true. He also says that wasn't Ivar, that was Hanson from War Machine. Yes, that felt like Ring of Honor Hanson for me. Yeah, that's what when he busted out the splash off the apron, that's what I said to myself, Rob. I was like, that's ROH Hanson right there.
Yeah, I'll give you that for sure.
Trey says Ivar caving in Kofi's caved in chest. Yes.
Yeah, it was like a cartoon at the end of the match when Kofi got back there. They just put the air thing in and just use the air pressure to get him back going. Yeah,
that's what I thought. And then he comes back to a regular size.
Yeah, yep. I was like, oh God, So, yep, good stuff, pal.
Very good stuff. We got a recap of Shinsuke Nakamura attacking Ricochet last week. This week, Ricochet has some final comments before he faces Shinsuke. He talks about, he says he's nobody's pawn and he is only involved because Shin attacked him last week. This made it personal. Ricochet is fired up. He says, Shin, if it's games that he wants to play, let's play him. Ricochet is a cheat code, and tonight it's game over. We see Shinsuke Nakamura come out to the ring, but he is interrupted during his entrance, and we hear the music of the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. Seth comes down to the ring, and of course, he has to make security and officials' jobs harder by pretending he's going to just walk away and then running past them like he always does. This is another part of a person's character. Shinsuke walks himself away. I love the walk away that Shinsuke did. When he was just calmly walking away because he knew security would get in between them. He's trying to rush past security, but Shinsuke staying away. This leads to security ushering Rollins away before Ricochet comes down to the ring for this matchup. And Ricochet was on his game in this matchup. He was very smooth in the ring. He was hitting a lot of high-flying moves, a beautiful standing moonsault at one point. The matchup, though, in my opinion, I didn't like this finish. This finish was lame, and it made Ricochet just seem like an idiot. They go outside. Shinsuke Nakamura tries to use a chair again. Ricochet picks up the chair, sees that the referee is watching him, uses the chair, then gets mad at the referee for disqualifying him.
Yeah,
this made Ricochet look like an idiot.
Yeah, that I could have gone. Like if he wouldn't have got mad at the referee, if they wouldn't have done that part, I would have been perfectly fine with that because it would have just shown an edge on Ricochet. Like, okay, jackass, you hit me with the chair, or you were thinking about hitting me with the chair. No, I'm gonna hit you with the chair. It's a disqualification.
I would have been fine with the finish if it wasn't for him acting like the referee did something wrong. I was like, no, you use the chair, you get disqualified. That's how it works. This was fun while it lasted. It got a bunch of time as well. They got 13 minutes. Shinsuke Nakamura, after the matchup, he attacks the knee of Ricochet. He attacks him with the steel chair. He looks like he's banging his knee onto the ring post and then banging it with a steel chair very badly, though. I was like, yeah, you're not hitting his leg at all. I was like, none of these chair shots are hitting the leg. It's hitting the ring post. Seth Rollins comes out and attacks Shinsuke Nakamura. He has the steel chair in the ring. He looks for a pedigree, but Shinsuke is able to reverse and backdrop Seth onto his bad back, onto the steel chair. Seth goes to the outside. He pulls Shinsuke Nakamura out of the ring. Shinsuke rams him into the announce table, then gives him a back suplex onto the announce table. Seth sells it like it's death and he can't even walk afterwards. Shinsuke walks away doing the Seth Rollins playing music orchestra thing, and then grabs a big head of Seth Rollins from the crowd and starts dancing with that as well. Later on in the night, we see when we come back from commercial break, Seth Rollins walking in the back. At one point, he has the referee in a freaking headlock. It's so hilarious. He had him in a headlock because he's trying to walk at the same time. He keeps falling backstage before they get to the trainer's room. We then see him later on in the night where Seth talks about what Shinsuke did, and that Shinsuke is trying to break him, not just his back, but trying to break him mentally. But what if he has? What if he has broken mentally? So now he has to take his hands off the wheel. He says tired, in a lot of pain. He's trying to keep it together, but he is losing his mind. He tells Shinsuke that the ball is in his court now. He says that he can have his title match any place, anytime, any stipulation. He wants to know his answer next week on Monday Night Raw, so we will see that segment next week. They advertised it later. Shinsuke Nakamura responds to Seth freaking Rollins' challenge. What did you think about Nakamura and Ricochet and the post-match with Seth?
You know, you're doing a really good heel job when you actually want Seth to catch up to him and grab him. You know, like, because I love Shinsuke. I do. He's so good. And, you know, like you, New Japan stuff, absolutely always loved him. And he's playing the perfect jackass right now. and you just want Seth to just get to him. And I'm hoping that next week leads to their match at Fastlane is what I'm hoping this goes to.
Yeah.
So I think they're going the right way. The only thing that was wrong with this whole this segment was the Ricochet thing. The from before that was the only thing out of this whole feud from last night that I did not like. But other than that, I like how Shinsuke grabbed the sign. Loved that. Thought that was great. And yeah, it was good. And Seth was selling that back injury like no other. So yeah, I mean, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought this was the first heated segment that Shinsuke and Seth have had. Unfortunately, though, my biggest nitpick, and I said a couple of my nitpicks when I was going over everything, but my biggest nitpick overall of this rivalry is, despite Shinsuke doing the best work, probably character work of his entire WWE run, overall this feels very mid-card. It doesn't feel like the main event program. It feels like the Judgment Day is the main event program, and this is the second biggest program.
Yeah,
which
because
this is the whole issue I've had with the World Heavyweight Championship in general, is that WWE has always told us they're trying to make this into the 1B title or the title on par with Roman's title, but it hasn't felt like they've really gone all the way with that.
Well, you know what Triple H said when he introduced the title, this was going to be a title that's defended anywhere. If I'm okay, defended anywhere. He's done it at NXT once, I think.
Yes.
Did he defend it at NXT? I can't remember if he defended
against Braun Breaker.
Yeah, it's okay. So I do want. I kind of want that belt to be somewhat an open challenge belt, but not necessarily every week, but maybe once a month, something like that. But yeah. I don't know. But yeah, this is just kind of like a filler because we both know that Shinsuke is not going to win this title.
And that's the whole thing. It's just it's great work, but it just feels hollow because it's I don't think he's gonna win this. And if it's a last man standing match, it's just damn, bro, you did all this work to build him back up just for him to lose again. And it's just I'm never gonna believe he's gonna win it. And I don't believe he's gonna win it at Fastlane because the time to do it was Payback.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean,
it's like I want Seth to kind of be in this Judgment Day storyline at this point, even though I wanted to see him kind of feud with other people by the time we got to SummerSlam. I kind of want him back with the Judgment Day program because it seems like ever since he split from Judgment Day, he hasn't been in the top program on his own show.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. I couldn't say it better myself.
We had next, the women's tag team champions are backstage. Got a couple of comments I saw here. Trey Jones, who says, I'll bet $5 it's gonna be a last man standing match. By how Seth sold the back injury, that makes all the sense in the world.
Trey Jones was a 5-star recruit from Apple Valley, Minnesota before he went to before he got drafted from the San Antonio Spurs.
Look at that.
In the second round. I was a big fan of his.
Thanks for coming through and watching our show, Trey. I appreciate that, man.
Big fan. Big fan.
Frantic World says it will be a no DQ match. I could see WWE going the lame route like that. We got Trey, who says the only time I believe Shinsuke to win the belt was against Jinder and he lost. No, last time I believed was against AJ at WrestleMania. But after that didn't happen, I stopped believing.
You'd never hinder the Jinder.
Yes, don't hinder Jinder. We got next the women's tag team champions Chelsea Green and Piper Niven are backstage. They're talking with Byron Saxon, who asks what their thoughts are on Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark as they have a match with them tonight. Chelsea Green says they're not even a real team. She says what makes a real team is friendship, and that's what her and Piper have. And she says they are best friends, and Piper says they are. She says if they are such friends, what country is she from? And Green says, England, Florida.
Yeah.
Piper walks away. Green says tonight they will show everyone what a real team looks like. This leads to our women's tag team matchup here. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark going up against Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. This match did not get a lot of time. It got 3 minutes, 42 seconds. We did not get a finish either, as Nia Jax came out and attacked everyone. She lays out Piper Niven, throwing her into the ring post. She lays out Chelsea Green, who tries to run away, but she catches her and lays her out, does a hip attack in the corner to her. Big Samoan drop to Zoe Stark, and then she saves the best for last. Shayna Baszler, her former tag team partner, she rushes her into the corner, then gives her the bonsai drop that they are calling Annihilation. Get it? Annihilation.
Good
Or
God.
Annihilator. Or I think it's Annihilator. Or an Annihilator or Annihilation. I don't know what it. Either way, corny. Nia Jax supposes after laying out all 4 women, this was a good showing, but very reminiscent of when Braun Strowman used to come out and beat down tag teams. This did not do the WWE Women's Tag Team titles any favors, which seems to be a common theme of Triple H since he brought back these titles. He just uses them to put over other people in the singles division. Nia Jax looking strong, and she says the entire women's division is on notice. What did you think?
Well, I'm ready for her to do the Braun thing where she runs around the ring. I'm ready for that. But I was nervous. Nia gives me. I'm nervous with Nia because when she threw Piper into that ring post,
It looked head first. It looked like
scary
it was head first.
It looked scary as hell, and that was the first thing the ref did. He got out of the ring and checked on her, which is good. But I was just like, what the hell? So I was scared about that, but it seemed like she was okay. Well, but it just terrified me for a second, and that's just what happens. And she just has that reputation, I guess. I don't know, but I don't know. I liked how they were. I liked how they were going with Shayna and Zoe. Like they were making. I thought they should have been a dominant force. Where, if anything, I would have liked to see Nia just kind of back away. Like, no, I don't have no problem with you, but I kind of get what they're doing with Nia. She's just showing that she doesn't care. She's going after everybody. But if she's doing this and she's going to go after, if she's going to go after Rhea and they're just going to have Rhea beat her, then she falls back down in the card. It's kind of going to be pointless. And I think that's what they're going to do. That's just my opinion.
I would have her at least feud or have a match with Raquel before she beats Rhea, before she faces Rhea. But I do agree with you. This is kind of what we've been talking about over on this channel about the Roman Reigns effect of Roman's been facing these hot baby faces, whether it's Drew at Clash of the Castle, whether it's Sammy at Elimination Chamber, whether it's Cody at WrestleMania. And, it looks like he's about to verse LA Knight. And I'm just like, we need to ask the question. Those guys, Drew, Sammy, Cody, are they as over as they were before they faced Roman as they are now after they faced Roman? And with every one of them, I think the answer is no. So you start to get the issue of building people up for Rhea. And yeah, I mean, I think that they are doing the job with Nia to build her up so Rhea has someone affordable to kind of put down, whether that's at Fastlane or Survivor Series or even Crown Jewel. But I think that they're doing enough right now with having her wipe out the entire division where they will have enough equity in her after the Rhea Ripley matchup.
Yeah, maybe. And then you make a good point about her coming through and maybe making her and having her feud with Raquel. That might be a good way to do it. Start off with.
Yeah.
So.
Or a 3-way match, something like that to prolong the feud. You can do a 3-way and then you can do the one-on-one matchup with Rhea and Nia. Yeah. We got here in the chat Eric Isaac who says it might no one left on the women's roster if Nia Jax continues her comeback terror on the ring. We got Vala B who says this match got brawned. That's a nice thing. That's a nice one. Trey Jones saying now I need Piper versus Nia Jax. I do agree. I do want to see that. Yeah. Queen Monet. Yeah. Queen Monet saying watching that tag match, I just kept thinking, why can't Piper, Shayna, or Zoe, maybe even Chelsea, be title contenders instead of doing tag stuff?
Yeah.
Not enough spots on the top of the card, I guess. I don't know. We got Josh who says, how many women will unsafe Jax will injure by the end of 2023? I hope none.
Yeah, I hope none. The Vegas has the over under at 74. So no, I'm kidding. But no, I hope obviously I hope not. And Nia doesn't want to hurt anybody either. So I think people need to realize that too. And I'm not saying Joshua's saying that. I just think that
in general, people do make it seem like it's a malice attempt. I don't think it's malice. It's just recklessness. Sometimes it's recklessness. Sometimes it's just freak accidents.
Yeah. The only time it got like to a point where it was kind of like, oh, what the hell's going on here was with Charlotte on that one Raw where they were.
Also, that was one of the best shoot fights I've ever seen.
It's like, wow.
We got Chad Gable backstage. He approaches Adam Pearce and he asks how Seth is, and he said he's being checked on, but he says you didn't come here to ask that. He says that he wants one more chance against Gunther. Pearce says he'll have to get in line, and Bronson Reed comes up to say that's right, he's next in line. Gable challenges him, says that he's used to facing big man like him, so he'll take him down, and Pearce makes it official. We go to that matchup where it's basically, your David versus Goliath match. Chad Gable looking strong, looking good, but he does eventually get a injured knee, which becomes the X factor in this matchup. Reed attacks the knee, eventually delivering a big Samoan drop, and then he follows up with the tsunami, and Wade Barrett finally got to say tsunami, guys, on Monday Night Raw. This match was really gutted by the commercial break. It went 8 minutes, 38 seconds, but we saw about 4 to 5 minutes of it. But would love to see this run back, but this was a very deflating loss here for Chad Gable, where it seemed like they were setting up Gable to be one of the next challengers for Gunther, and now he has a setback, but it seems to be part of a longer story here.
I'm hoping that's what it is, because I was disappointed when he lost, because I was thinking this is the guy that needs to be Gunther, because the crowd's behind him. They're behind him, and why not go with it? Plus, Chad Gable's the G1. I can see. I mean, would you rather have Chad Gable beat Okada than Bronson Reed? I mean, come on,
I'd be here for it.
Yeah,
Chaos Theory? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, that's for sure. So, yeah, don't cool off Gable, for sure. Don't cool him off. I don't like that, and I hope he gets his I hope he gets back, because I want him to be the one that takes that title off Gunther. I do. Gunther, whatever the hell they want to call him now.
I think they're setting up Gunther to at least hold the title till the end of the year. So I think they're just biding their time as far as TV with Chad Gable until they're ready to pull the trigger. We do get who Gunther's next challenger will be, though, here as Tommaso Ciampa has an interview promo time. He talks about how he told himself he'd play the long game. He waited and waited and waited until he found out that patience is not a virtue. It's a crutch. So tonight he starts destroying Imperium. He chose them, not the other way around. He tells Gunther that he has what Ciampa wants. Really enjoy these Ciampa promos whenever he's able to get them on TV.
Yeah. And I want to steal his gimmick where I just, every time I get up from like a metal chair, I just want to kind of like just toss it no matter where I'm at. I just want to, no matter where I'm at, I want to steal that gimmick is what I want to do. But yeah,
his garage door, please.
No matter where, if I'm like at a wedding, boom, I don't care who's behind me, it's gone. Just, that's how I want to be with it. That's the best thing going. I love it every time. He's done that forever.
Yeah.
And but yeah, this was great. I'm the gimmick where he's ready to go. I know we were all hoping that he was looking for getting DIY back, and I'm still hoping there's a possibility of that, but hey, Ciampa versus Gunther, I'll take it.
I'll take it. I will. We heard earlier in the night to start the show that Becky Lynch would defend the NXT Women's Championship for the first time on the show. She was backstage heading to the ring, and she's got a nice NXT shirt now, apparently. So Becky Lynch gets on the mic. She says she's the new NXT Women's Champion, and although she'll admit that winning the title wasn't on her bingo card, she has learned to take chances and opportunities while you can. She wants to elevate the title, and NXT represents hope and progress, and she wants to test herself against the future. She will be at NXT tomorrow night, but tonight she wants to offer up an open challenge, and it is answered by the young upstart, Natalya. Natalya says she has worked her ass off more than anyone. 8 weeks ago, she took Rhea Ripley to her limit, and she's been sitting backstage ever since, waiting for her chance, so Natty accepts. Becky tells Natty she has nothing but respect for her. They go way back 15 years ago. She says they were wrestling in Japan, but when she issued the challenge, she meant it for someone new. Natty's been here for 15 years. Natty says, 15 years she's been doing this. She's not taking a spot like Becky did. Becky went to NXT and stepped over everyone to get her title shot. Becky is a hypocrite and a ginger witch.
Yeah.
She shoves Becky. Becky shoves her, and they have a match.
Yeah. They had
7 minutes, 11 seconds. Commercial break in between. Becky Lynch eventually gets the win. She retains. This was one of those, by definition, just their matches.
Yeah. And God, obviously I respect Natalya. I think she's great. It's just, that's the thing. I didn't need her in this match. I just I would have taken almost anybody because we knew she wasn't going to win. I mean, granted, we knew nobody was going to win because they were already advertising that he was going to be on NXT. So you knew it didn't matter. And maybe that's why, I mean, there was talk that, Tegan Nox was going to originally be the opponent, but they changed their mind or whatever. Anyways, I know a lot of people are disappointed because everybody loves Tegan Nox, and don't get me wrong, I still love Natalya too. It's just I didn't need Natalya in this situation. I wanted Tegan Nox, so it was just a filler, I guess.
Queen Monet saying, I love how Natty says she wasn't taking a spot, but she literally was given Tegan's spot.
Yeah. And that's what's funny too. Didn't Natalya challenge Cora Jade for her title at NXT last year?
No, Cora Jade was never champion. but
Oh,
she came down to NXT and she feuded
Okay.
with Cora Jade, beat her, and then left.
Okay.
She could have had a title shot after that win.
Okay. So I thought maybe that was. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that.
Cora Jade is the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Ah.
We got Trey Jones who says, I mean, they are both right besides the ginger witch part. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Becky technically did take a spot from a younger developmental talent, but I understand that's the goal they're going for, is to make the NXT a third formidable brand. So putting it on one of their top stars did pay dividends. We saw with that rating, 850,000 people watching, 1 million watching by the end of that matchup. So it did pay dividends. So I don't think Natty is 100% right in that regard.
Yeah.
Vala B saying Natty really did a great job in India, but Tegan should have had the spot. And I know Fightful did also report that, right, Rob, about Natty doing a great job working 2 matches at WWE Superstar Spectacle in India. So I guess that's why she earned this opportunity in that fashion. But I do agree with Vala B. I think Tegan Knox would have been better for this match.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I said it too, so it should have been Tegan's spot. Maybe they'll give it to her next week.
Yeah. Hopefully. We go backstage to Adam Pearce's office where Dragon Lee is talking to him. In comes Dominic Mysterio, who says he lost because Rhea isn't here, and Rhea isn't here because Pearce isn't doing his job. He says that he should have dealt with Nia Jax after last week. Instead, he is here talking to this guy. Dom tells Lee that he doesn't like him because he wears a mask, and he doesn't like guys in a mask because it reminds him of his deadbeat dad. Lee says that he's going to take that title from Dominic Mysterio next week, and he walks away. It is confirmed, yes, Dragon Lee will challenge Dirty Dominic Mysterio next week for the NXT North American Championship. Do you think we're going to get a title change next week, Rob?
I hope so. I really do. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Dominic's been fine with this, but
yeah,
I think I've been waiting for Dragon Lee to get his push because I thought he would have gotten it already because it's Dragon Lee. But so I it's one of those things where I don't like using this phrase, but it is what it is, So I'm just hoping they move on with him getting this title. It just would make sense unless they are planning on letting Dominic wrestle every Tuesday. Then I'm okay with it. If they're letting him defend that title every Tuesday and getting him more reps, cool. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, but they seem to have like what they know what they want to do with him on Monday Night Raw. So it does seem like something that probably you should have this title on someone in the developmental that can be on Tuesdays every single week.
Yeah.
We got next up, it was the aforementioned Tommaso Ciampa versus Giovanni Vinci matchup. This was another kind of short matchup on this card here because it went 3 minutes 29 seconds. We saw Gunther backstage watching the matchup while it was going on, while Giovanni Vinci had a slight bit of offense, but Ciampa would eventually catch him with a big knee as he came off for a springboard in midair. They connected. It looked like Giovanni was knocked out right there, but Ciampa instead locks on the Sicilian stretch, and while Ludwig has to watch, Vinci reaches for the ropes, but eventually he taps out to give Ciampa the win. This was a nice short work to show Ciampa showing some aggression and going through Imperium. First stop here, and next week he faces Ludwig Kaiser. What did you think about this match?
It went pretty quick to me. It was, and I knew like if there's somebody that we know that both guys are going to lose because that's what they do to get the Gunther, and Ciampa is. I'm never going to complain watching Ciampa wrestle. So, and that's pretty much what it came down to. I was happy. So satisfied. Satisfied is probably the better word. And it didn't do. There was nothing special about it. You know, it just was a typical, like, okay, this is another filler match. Let's keep moving.
If they gave it like 5 more minutes, this would have been a good match because what we got in that 3 minutes was good, but it just was 3 minutes.
Yep.
Backstage, we had a couple of segments throughout the night building to the main event that I was like, all right, I'll just put it right before the main event here. First, we get Damian Priest interrupting Jey Uso interview, and he talks about what family really means, and that Jey doesn't know what family means. He says he knows what family means, but Damian says he knows what bloodline means. Blood makes you relatives. You don't know what family is all about. He says that he could be a part of something special with the Judgment Day, so he has till the end of the night to make his decision whether it's yes or no, and he says to don't make him look bad. We later on see Jey Uso as he approaches Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens still complaining about Jey. Jey says to say it to his face, and he says that he doesn't trust him, and he knows that he's one eyeliner away from joining Judgment Day. He says that he saw the conversation he had earlier with Priest, but Jey says that he doesn't know what he's talking about. They get into a whole argument. Sami has to get in the middle of everybody and tells KO to walk away. Jey tells him to talk to his boy, but Sami says give KO some time. It was also announced that it's going to be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn challenging the Judgment Day's Finn Balor and Damian Priest next week for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. And we also saw Drew McIntyre staring off into the distance, looking mean.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on those pre-backstage segments leading into the main event? Priest with Jey or Jey with KO and Sami?
I absolutely love watching Kevin Owens lose his mind. Just like you just know he's just wanting to lose his mind. I just absolutely love that every time. He's just backstage and Sami Zayn speaks Kevin Owens' language, so he knows like what's going on. And it's good comedy for me because I've gone through that myself where just like I kind of just hit that level where what are you doing? Why are you doing it? This is dumb. So I got it. I thought it was hilarious. When Damian had that talk with him, I'm like, well, okay, I know what's going to happen now. I mean, I had a feeling already. Obviously, he wasn't going to join, but I had a feeling. I was like, all right, well, somebody in Judgment Day is getting super kicked. Is what I was thinking. I like how they did it. Like he just boom, super kick. I enjoyed that. As far as
I thought it was executed well. I just felt like when he gave him the ultimatum, I was like, we could have got more television out of this, I think.
Yeah. And then as far as Drew McIntyre just looking pissed, I was just like, all right, like I was hoping it'd be Riddle that he destroys, like when he finally loses it, but who knows? I mean, what's going on with Riddle, you know? So
yeah. That's a whole nother story.
Yep.
So we go to the main event of this show. Jey Uso going up against Drew McIntyre. These two men haven't faced, I think, one-on-one since not even last year during the build-up to Clash at the Castle. They faced all the way back in 2020 was their last one-on-one matchup here. It felt like there was a lot of animosity between the two guys, and the level of intensity went up during this matchup. This was a very hard-hitting matchup. Some hard strikes from both men, headbutts from Drew McIntyre, as he said, the Glasgow Kiss. He dominated a large portion of this matchup before Jey Uso made a comeback, hit a suicide dive, but this bring out the Judgment Day to watch on this main event matchup. You get Drew McIntyre with a big superplex off the top rope, which keeps both men down. Jey Uso eventually gets some offense in, makes his comeback. It's a big super kick after the Judgment Day distract the referee for a near fall. He gets in the corner. He looks like he's gonna measure for another one, but the Judgment Day start giving him a pep talk and telling him to do it for the Judgment Day and that it's his time, it's their time. Jey pulls himself up. Priest gives him some advice on the apron. He gets on the apron in his ear, but Jey turns around, gives a super kick to Damian Priest, gives a super kick to Finn, to Dom, and then turns around into the Claymore. 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre picking up the win in the main event. 14 minutes, 11 seconds. Very good main event. Hard-hitting affair here. Drew leaves the Jey in the middle of the ring, but in comes the Judgment Day. They surround Jey like vultures. Drew stops at the ramp and turns around to watch. He watches as the Judgment Day attack Jey with stomps. They lift him up. Finn starts laying in rights. Drew is struggling at the top of the ramp. Priest hits Jey with the right hand. Jey drops. Finn's barking out orders for more. Drew turns his back and walks up the ramp. He stops. He turns. The crowd wants him to help. They're calling for him to help. Drew stares down Damian. Damian waves him off. But finally, someone comes out to make the save, and it's none other than the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. He runs in. He attacks Damian, then Finn. Kick to Finn. Then we get a super kick to Finn from Jey. He hits Dom with the super kick as well, and then Cody hits the crossroads on Dom to end this save here as the baby faces stand tall to end the night. Cody Rhodes making the save for Jey Uso. Great response from the fans for the save from Cody Rhodes. The big pop for the end of the night. That was a nice way to close the show, as it seems that Cody and Jey are friends, and Cody is the only friend for Jey Uso, not named Sami Zayn on Monday Night Raw. So I liked how they brought the whole story together. This is the best part of Monday Night Raw for me last night, was everything involving Jey Uso, Judgment Day, Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was good. Like I said, the super kick, the match was solid too. The super kicks, when it all kind of just changed and it got faster, and Drew McIntyre, like, just kind of like watching, you saw the hesitation. Like, part of him wanted to, but then the other part was like, nope, because he's thinking, no, I remember the chair shots this Punk gave me,
Yep.
So I like that. I mean, that's what I'm thinking too. I'm thinking the same thing that he would. No, this guy and his family beat the hell out of me with steel chairs. There's no way in hell I'm going to go help him now. Let him get his ass kicked. That's the way I looked at it. Cody went right by him. I thought that was great. Didn't even hesitate. Like, just boom. It's like as if Cody's like, I get it. I that's the way I looked at it. So.
I just think Cody was focused on making the save and didn't even want to acknowledge. Didn't have time to acknowledge him.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought it was good. I thought it was solid. Good main event. And the thing that stole the show for me was the Ivar and Kofi match. So that's what did it for me.
We got Queen Monet in the chat saying, I'm kind of sad that Jey decided to last night, because Rhea trying to convince Jey would have been gold. That's why I said we had at least one more week of television. We still didn't see Rhea try to convince him. Like, we did Dom trying to convince him. We did Finn trying to convince him. We did Priest last night. We didn't get Rhea, who was the only person who seemed to be a difference maker for him.
Yep. We got that Waffle House type look from him, like when it's like, oh, like, we got that again, which we all loved the first time we saw it, and we got that again. So the fact that they did not go back to it sucks. So, oh well.
Yeah. Steven Chambers saying, good Raw last night. He says Drew heel turn coming, like Drew better as a heel. I like that they're going the slow burn approach with it. That we're getting kind of layers to this heel turn, and we're getting kind of how it makes sense why it's happening as well.
Just save it for Riddle. Just, that's his punishment when he gets back. Just, like, get in the ring. Drew's going to destroy you, and it's going to hurt. So just get ready. That's That's what they do. That's what they need to do.
We shall.
So,
That's what they do. There should be Riddle is the original fifth guy for War Games, and then he gets injured and attacked, and they think it's the Judgment Day. So Drew volunteers to be the replacement, and it's really him the whole time.
God.
Because he wanted to be in War Games to get his hands on Cody.
Man, Drew and Judgment Day with eyeliner would be pretty good.
I know. I don't want Drew to join Judgment
I was
Day.
joking. I
just want him to turn him.
I was just joking about because of the eyeliner part would be good, but no, I don't want that at all. I don't want that at all either.
Well, Rob, how we do these reviews over here, we give a show the thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. So we'll do that. We'll also tell the people our match of the night, MVP and LVP from last night's show. You let us know in the live chat. Final call for that match of the night, MVP, LVP for last night's Raw. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. And out of 10, what did you give the show? For me and Rob, we'll get our thumbs in the middle. For Monday Night Raw last night, 3, 2, 1, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and 3, 2, 1, thumbs up from me and Rob. Rob,
well, you kept saying it. I was like, I don't know. But yeah, thumbs up.
Rob, what did you give the show out of 10?
I would give it a 7.
That's what I give it. Exactly. I give it a 7 out of 10. This was a solid to good, effective setup show. This is setting up stuff for the future, stuff for ongoing television. Seems like we're setting up for Survivor Series with what's going on with the Judgment Day and the babyface side. But my biggest nitpick is we're like 2 weeks away from Fastlane. I don't know a match for that card.
Yeah,
and this seems to be the same thing they did for Payback, which I think was the weakest WWE pay-per-view so far this year.
Yeah. And it was, I mean, granted, Payback was still pretty good, so we'll have to see. But
I just want them to build matches, announce some matches beforehand. Your match of the night, Rob.
Definitely Kofi and Ivar.
Once again, agree with you. Kofi and Ivar, match of the night. MVP for the show, Rob.
Ooh. I would have to say Jey.
I'm gonna go with Drew McIntyre. I think that he had a good main event matchup, got the win, and his character is one of the more interesting, compelling characters on this show now with this whole slow burn heel turn. So I'm a lot more interested I am in Drew than I've been since like the pandemic. That was the last time I was this interested in Drew. LVP for the show, Rob.
LVP. What is that, loser or what is that?
Least valuable player.
Okay, I was like,
came out the episode the worst.
I would say whoever, and this isn't a shot at Natalya because I never blame the wrestlers. It's the person that decided to change the match from Becky to Becky and Natalya. It just shouldn't have been that match. It should have been the. Why am I drawing the blank on the name right now? Thank you. I was like, it's not. So yeah, thank you. It was. I almost said Dakota Kai, and I'm like, that's not it. But yeah, Tegan Nox. That's probably my LVP. But I think the person that maybe kind of got over the worst would probably be Ricochet, like that, because that didn't make sense. And that's like, again, that's not on him. It's storytelling. So they made him look kind of weird by that. If they would have just let him just do the chair shots, that would have been fine. But
you're right. Definitely, you're right. I'm gonna go LVP too, unfortunately. Shayna Baszler, Zoe Starks, Piper Niven, Chelsea Green, because they just totally got Braun Strowman in that tag team matchup by Nia Jax. So yeah, they have to be my LVPs for the show.
Yeah, I get that. That's a good call too. I didn't think of them when it came to this because that wasn't good either. But
not good when it came to the woman on this show, but maybe they will get back up on next week's show. We will have to talk about it next week. Rob, thank you for joining me this week. I appreciate you, good sir. Please let the people know where they can follow you on social media, what you got going on, coexisting every Friday, your stuff at Fightful. The floor is yours.
All right, guys, you can follow me at Rob Wilkins on Twitter or X, whatever you call it. I'm also on Instagram at Fightful Rob. I'm on Threads at Fightful Rob. Every Friday at 3 o'clock Eastern, I co-host a show called Coexisting with Rob and Maggie. Just on Fightful Overbooked, we just have a good time, talk wrestling, talk about the week that was in wrestling news. And then every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, me and Seahawk, aka Cameron Hawkins, do a show called My Point Is. And we just have 4 or 5 different wrestling segments and usually one non-sport segment and just kind of have fun. So it's a good show and you should check it out. So thank you.
Yes, love all the work Rob is doing. So go over, check him out, follow him on all your social media platforms, and check out all his great stuff over on Fightful and Fightful Overbooked. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. Follow the gang on all social media platforms at True Hill Heat, and check out all the great stuff we got on the channel right now, like True Hill Heat flagship podcast, True Hill Heat 243, with myself, Miss Chrissy Love, and the True Draw Josh, talking about last week in wrestling, The Rock's return, Jay Cargill, WWE, and more. Check out Servant Facing Heels, our women's wrestling podcast with Stephanie Hypes and Miss Chrissy Love, talking about the Jay Cargill news, Nia Jax's return, Tony Storm's fantastic character, and more. Check out Collision Discourse with myself and True Jaw Josh reviewing this week's AEW Collision, and check out our latest interview for True Heels BTR Between the Ropes from StarCast with Marty Jannetty, talking all about his Dark Side of the Ring episode. So check that out right now. For Rob Wilkins, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. Thank you so much for joining us for Rated Raw Review for the September 18, 2023 edition of Monday Night Raw. We are signing off until next time.